Hello everyone, and welcome to the Wild Geese Virtual Sibin. The Sibin is where we talk with interesting people in the worldwide Irish diaspora about their diverse interests and talents. We have a bit of a cooking show planned for you today, so if you have any friends who love Ireland or love to cook, or both, you'll want to invite them now. Please share the link for this broadcast with all your friends. You can do that on social media right now. My name is Kelly O'Rourke, and I'm here in my home in Connemara, County Galway, on the west coast of Ireland. We're so glad that you've joined us tonight. If you're a member of the Wild Geese and you're watching live, we encourage you to interact with us via the main chat room on thewildgeese.com. That's in the lower right corner of your screen if you're on our site. If you're not a member, you need to sign up for a free profile on the Wild Geese in order to chat with us. This is a great time to do it because we have a giveaway coming up soon for all members. You can also send us tweets at the Wild Geese and using the hashtag Sibin1205. That's S-I-B-I-N with no fadas, 1205. So we're joined tonight by Margaret Johnson from New York, and she is a renowned culinary guru and cookbook author focusing on contemporary Irish cuisine. You can look her up on irishcook.com, and you can find there more about her cookbooks as well as the culinary tours that she leads in Ireland, which sounds really exciting. Welcome, Margaret.
Thank you, Kelly. It's fabulous to be here and you there.
Yeah, I know, it's cool. Will you tell us a little bit about your Irish background?
Yes, absolutely. I am of 100% Irish ancestry. Grandparents and great-grandparents from Kerry, Cork, and Dublin. And I became fascinated with, obsessed by everything Irish when I first traveled there in 1984. And I've been back there 70-plus times. I've stopped counting because it sounds too vain to say, oh, 72, 73, 74. So 70-plus. Love everything about it.
That's great. And how did Irish cooking come to become your greatest passion?
Well, when I first started to travel to Ireland, I wanted to write about Ireland. I am an English teacher and journalist by profession, and no one was writing anything about Irish cooking. No one in the U.S. at least. So I thought, there is my niche. I love to cook, and I love culinary history of any country, really, but when I decided to hitch my wagon to the Irish Star, I thought, this is it for me. So I've just done nothing but devote myself for the last 15 years to Irish cooking. And I follow every trend, every chef, everyone who's writing anything about Ireland.
Irish cooking has come quite a long way, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Even to this day, 2014, people still say, you write Irish cookbooks? You've written 10 Irish cookbooks? Are they all duplicates of the previous one? And it's a hard sell sometimes, but I'm doing my part over here.
Well, your cookbooks are great, and people are really enjoying them.
Thank
and
you.
Tonight we're going to be using a recipe from your Christmas cookbook. Is that right?
Well, not exactly. When I gave you the information, I said from my most recent, and I'm thinking ahead to the most recent, which will be published in the spring. It's called Favorite Flavors of Ireland. It's a follow-up, or part 3, I guess you could say, in my flavors series. I have Flavors of Ireland, Christmas Flavors of Ireland, and Favorite Flavors of Ireland, and it will be in that in that book.
Oh, perfect. So this is a sneak preview, actually.
It is a good preview, and but the recipe that you're going to be doing is perfect for a Christmas meal, or any meal for that matter, but it's very festive and it's very rich and perfect special occasion dish.
Great, great. Okay. Well, what we're going to do tonight with Margaret is a bit like a cooking show, but there's a small twist. We have tonight a kitchen novice, which would be me. I'm not much of a cook, and I'm going to be doing the cooking and baking, while the expert, which is Margaret, is going to do her very best to coach me through it, and it will be definitely a big challenge for both of us, but hopefully I can give some confidence to anyone who might be like me, a little bit uncomfortable in the kitchen, because if I can do it, you can do it. And we're ready to get started. Now, Margaret, this is not a beginner recipe, I don't think. Am I right?
You are correct. You are correct. I chose this one because it is has multiple parts to it. Um, so it's called an chocolate whiskey tart, and it has caramel in it. You need to bake the crust. You have to make the caramel. You have to make the filling and bake it. So it's a little more complicated, but each of the three steps are really simple, on their own. So if you
Okay,
can do
I'm
it,
a little nervous. I hope you can get me through this.
I can. I can.
Great. So where do we start?
With the pie crust. So shall I read the recipe to you and to our viewers?
Sure. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat on the start, as we have already discussed, but Margaret is going to tell you how to make her lovely, from scratch pie crust. I've done a little bit of a cheat, and I've used this product, which you can get in Ireland, called Just Roll, and it's worked really well for me. And in America, or if you're elsewhere, I'm sure there are similar products like that. Some even have the pie crust all completely made and everything. This one's kind of halfway in between, because I did have to do a little work. Like, I had to put it into the bowl and actually form it around the shell. But it's pretty easy. But Margaret, tell us how we would go about making your version.
All right. Well, if you were going to make a regular pie crust, I'll just read you the ingredients, and I'm sure a lot of viewers have their own certain recipe for, Oh, sorry, that's gone. So it's 1¼ cups of flour, and a teaspoon of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of cold, unsalted Kerrygold butter, which most people love to use. I'll show a quick picture of Kerrygold in case anyone has never seen it. I can't imagine that they haven't. And then 4 tablespoons also of a cold vegetable shortening. We might call it Crisco here in the U.S. You could substitute, though, a full 8 tablespoons of the butter, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of ice water. So that you would put into a food processor, or you could just put it into a bowl and use a pastry cutter to work the butter into the flour and the other ingredients, and then form it into a ball and put it in the refrigerator to let the butter come back together, and then you take it out and roll it and form it into the tart shell. Now, the recipe does suggest a tart shell, a loose bottomed tart shell. It's not essential. You have one, and I have one here also. So the reason it's loose bottom is because when it's finished, you can just pop the tart out, and you bake the crust for, let me see, about 15 minutes. You need to get it cold first, and then put in some pie weights. Did you have pie weights?
I'll tell you what I did. I thought you said pie weights or dried beans, which I had neither of, course. So I actually used rice, and that seemed to work okay. I lined it with foil, and then I used rice on top. Was that okay?
Yeah, rice is perfect. Yes, just to weight it down, because if you put the crust in the oven without anything, it will bubble up, and then you need to prick the crust first with the fork to keep it firm. So
obviously, but I did not know that, so I'm really glad that you put that in the recipe.
Okay. So did you bake your crust? Pre-bake the crust?
I did.
Okay, perfect.
My crust.
That looks great. That looks great. And I did suggest the pie shield. It's not really a requirement. A lot of people don't have a pie shield. It looks like this. It's just a big ring, and you put that over the crust, and this prevents it from burning because you're baking the crust first, blind baking to brown it because you're putting a filling in, and then you have to bake it again. And sometimes, depending on your oven, the exterior of your crust might burn too quickly while the filling is baking. So a pie shield is a good option.
Yes, I would like to get one of those. What I did for this time is I just put foil over it, and that worked okay.
Fine. Absolutely fine.
I'm going to invest in pie shield now that I'm going to be an expert pie maker after tonight.
Good, good. So now, are you ready? You baked it? The filling.
Okay, so we need to do the caramel next. Is that right?
Oh, the caramel. I'm sorry. Yes, you have to do the caramel next. And that is...
Okay, I'm going to head over to my stove then so I can do the caramel. So follow me, cameraman, and all of you at home.
Are you lucky you have a cameraman there?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to turn my stove on here. Okay, I'm ready. What do I need to put in there?
Okay, you're going to put in 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, Kerrygold again preferably.
Got it.
1/2 cup of sugar. And you're going to let the butter and the sugar melt. And then when it starts to caramelize, you're going to pour in heavy cream, 1/4 cup.
Should I be stirring during this?
Sorry, Kelly?
Should I be stirring it?
Yeah, stir it so the butter and the sugar melt together.
Okay.
Cook that for about 3 to 5 minutes until it's all melted and thickened. And then once the sugar and butter begin to caramelize, you will add the cream.
Okay, yeah, I've got that ready.
This is a very decadent recipe, as you probably have noticed, because it has a lot of cream, a lot of butter, but it's a festive recipe. It's not something that you would probably make every day, but it's a
yeah. I'm thinking a small piece would do it.
Right.
But these are all my favorite ingredients. So you picked a really good recipe to inspire me to bake because
Well, that's good.
I do like to bake cookies and brownies. I find those non-threatening, but when it comes to cakes and pies, I've always been really intimidated.
Well, I think pies are more intimidating than cakes because cakes tend to be, you know, one bowl, mix your ingredients and so on, but with the pie you need to do the crust first, and depending on whether or not it's going to be baked blind like this is because you're going to put a filling in, or, you know, it's a little more complicated. But
this is doing really cool things. It's making like this whole bubbling action, and this is going correctly, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, I can't see it bubbling in there, but I trust you. So is
Margaret trusts me in the kitchen. This is interesting.
Is it getting nice and melted and caramelized?
It's getting melted. It's still really yellow, so it hasn't started to go brown yet.
Okay, so you can leave it without stirring it for a little bit. Leave it without stirring for a little bit. And then as it starts to get brown, you know, almost as if it were looking like it was going to burn, then you can put the cream in. But be careful, because if it splatters back up on you, it's very, very hot sugar is. And don't ever put your finger in. I always warn people, don't ever put your finger in it and test it, because it's very, very hot. Very hot.
Very hot. Yeah.
Yes. So when you're ready, you can put the cream in.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's nearly good. It's still pretty yellow, so let it get a little more brown, right?
Yes, please. Yep.
Cool. I think caramel, as soon as I saw chocolate and caramel in the same recipe, I thought, yes, this is a great one.
This is a good one, yes. That's what I meant when I said it's a very festive, you know, special occasion recipe, because caramel, chocolate, pecans. You can substitute walnuts, by the way, if you prefer, and whiskey. So it's not an everyday recipe.
And what's really the difference between a tart and a pie? I have to confess, I really don't know.
Well, I mean, I think in Ireland, tarts are more, it's more the common name. A pie, of course, you're American, so a pie is a top crust as well. So without the top crust, it's a tart. Like you would, if you call an apple tart, for example, it wouldn't have a top crust on it. You'd probably make it into a crumble or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, now, after you've made the caramel, you're going to pour it into the baked crust.
Okay.
And then you have to freeze it because it really needs to firm a little bit because you're going to then put the chocolate and then you're going to make the filling and put the filling in. And what's going to happen, the caramel is going to bubble up through the filling a little bit, but by freezing it, it prevents that a little bit of, you know, the bubbling up because you do want that layer.
It's kind of like a layer that's like the caramel and then the chocolate and nut.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, it's starting to turn brown. Yay.
Okay.
I think we've done it.
Okay.
All right. So
add your cream.
Now add the cream.
Mm-hmm. Take it off the heat and add the cream.
Don't burn the house down. That's my #1 rule of baking.
Good rule.
Hmm? Wow, this is like a chemistry experiment.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Can you see?
A
There's a lot of bubbling going on.
A little bit, yes. I do see. Yes. Perfect.
Okay, good. I'm really glad that you're here, Margaret, because I might think I was doing something wrong if I saw all this crazy bubbling.
I don't think so.
I think this is a really good tip, though, too, like, if you are kind of uncomfortable in the kitchen like me, you know, get a friend to kind of, you know, help you through one. And with the wonders of online, you know, video chatting, you can now do it even if mom or grandma isn't in the next room, even if they're across the ocean. This actually looks like caramel. What do you know?
See? Just don't put your finger in and test it.
I will not put my finger in, even though it is tempting. Here it goes.
Okay.
Make sure we get every bit. You do not want to miss out on any of this caramel.
No, use a spatula.
Yep. Alright. And then will it kind of spread itself around, or do I need to spread it?
Well, if you want to just get it to the edges as much as you can.
Maybe even like just tip it around like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's good.
Cool. Okay. What's next?
So now you put that in the freezer.
Okay.
And then we'll start the filling.
Okay, I'm ready. Got my mixer out here.
So we're going to start with, well, you're going to have the pecans, but you're not actually going to put those into the filling. Well, you'll put those on the caramel when it comes out of the freezer. So you're going to start.
Okay.
The filling is. Let me have it over here. Sorry. You're going to take. Okay, you have the pecans and the chocolate, but you leave those to the side for the moment. So you're going to start with 3/4 of a cup of light corn syrup, which would be either Caro. Here in the U.S., we would use Caro, or you could use Lyle's golden syrup. I think
that's what I've got, the Lyle's golden syrup, yeah.
Right, perfect. And then you're going to use a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar and a 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar.
I've got those prepared right here. Now, what's the difference between light brown and dark brown sugar?
Just the way that it's processed. Again, I think you could use one, you know, all of one, olive dark or olive brown. The original recipe called for a mixture of the two. I think maybe to even out the flavors a little bit. And then 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Again, we'll go to Kerrygold if you have it. If not,
There it is. Lost my butter there for a minute.
okay.
I found it.
Found. And then 3 large. Well, you can beat that a little bit right now.
Okay.
And then add 3 large eggs, one at a time.
All right, I'm going to mute my microphone for just a minute and let Margaret talk to you guys out there so that you don't have to listen to this mixer going.
Perfect. Okay, so Kelly has mixed the sugar and the Caro, or the golden syrup, the brown sugar, the light brown sugar, the dark brown sugar, the butter, and eggs. And as soon as that comes to a nice blend, she's going to do the eggs one at a time. She's going to mix in the wonderful ingredient, which is Irish whiskey. Now, I don't think that Kelly is going to be using the same Irish whiskey that I generally recommend, which is Nicole Castle. I'll just show it to you here. It's a wonderful single malt whiskey. A lot of people would say never use that for cooking, but like wine, you should use really the best ingredients. If you're making something, beef bourguignon, let's say, don't use cheap wine. Use a nice wine, and it's always going to turn out better. Okay, I don't think Kelly muted her mic. It's okay. So she put in the eggs, the whiskey, the vanilla extract, and a little bit of salt. Oh, I see a very healthy pour there, Kelly. A lot of people might look at this recipe and see the resemblance to a southern pecan pie, and it does have some of the same characteristics and the same ingredients. The corn syrup makes a nice thick filling. You do need to scoop, continue to move that around. You're doing a very good job because the corn syrup does tend to stick to the bottom of the mixing bowl. Yep. That looks good, Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm back. Now, Margaret could have been saying anything about me right there. I would never know.
No, I did say you were doing a good job with the spatula because the corn syrup is very, very thick. So you need to be certain that you're using the spatula to get it all up. And I was complimenting you on the good job you were doing.
All right, I did something right. Okay.
Okay, so you put the whiskey in, the vanilla extract, and the salt? All the ingredients. Okay, so now you're ready to take the pie crust, the caramel out of the freezer.
All right.
And then you're going to put the half of the pecans. You have 1 cup of chopped pecans, so you're going to put a half a cup over the caramel.
Okay, got that ready. And I chopped these at kind of medium. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. So sprinkle half a cup over the caramel.
All right.
And then you're going to put 4 ounces of bittersweet chocolate, either shaved or chopped finely, over the pecans.
Mine are kind of big. Should I chop them up? Should I chop them up smaller?
Well, they will melt anyway, but if it would have been preferable to chop them up a little bit finer, but I don't know if you have time to do that.
Okay. Do as I say, not as I do, guys.
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. They're not that big. You can just spread them around a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. This is not for the faint of heart, this recipe. All right, now you're going to pour over the filling. Pour the filling over.
Okay.
You might. When I made this, I have a little filling left.
Okay.
So just fill it up so that there's a good 1/4 inch at least before you get to the top of the pie crust.
Okay, so we don't want to go overboard.
No, because it's going to ooze out anyway. Chances
Okay.
are. Okay. So if you have a little left over and you have some more of either the homemade pastry or the Just Roll, or in the U.S. Pepperidge Farm, you can buy, or there's a lot of different pre-made, pie crust. I think I'd stop right there.
Okay.
You see on the right side of your crust, you have a little bit more. So see if you can level it out just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now you're going to add the remaining pecans to the top.
Okay.
And again, you could use walnuts if you wanted to.
It reminds me a bit of like a pecan pie, really.
Yes, exactly. I think I might have said that when you were mixing.
Okay.
You didn't hear.
But the whiskey
Because, it does have a very similar, a lot of similar ingredients, and the consistency from the corn syrup is what makes it that nice filling.
Sure. Oh wow. Have to say.
If you wanted to, you could then take some whole pecans, and it would then look a lot more like a tradition, like a southern pecan pie, but that's fine. Now, put it on a baking sheet or a cookie sheet when you put it in the oven, because two things. It could very easily wiggle a little bit. Sometimes, depending on your oven, a pan might buckle up just a little bit. So put it on a baking sheet, and then if it does ooze over, which it, again, possibly might, it won't spill all over into your oven.
Oh, that's a good tip. Okay. Just like that.
There you go. Now, again, if you want to put the pie, if you have a pie shield and you want to put it on now, fine. Or you can just put it in the oven if the temperature is 375. And if it doesn't look like the edges of the crust are browning too much, then you can just leave it. But like you said earlier that you used aluminum foil to put it around the edge. Okay, so you're going to bake that now for about 50 minutes.
Okay, 50 minutes, yep.
Okay.
All right, here it goes.
Here it goes. Now you have a gas stove, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I bake mine in electric, and again, anyone who's watching, every oven is different. You have a much more reliability, I think, with gas than I do with electric. So mine, I baked for 50 minutes, and it was perfect. Now the filling will look a little wobbly, but don't dismay. Don't overcook it. Take it out, and again, as all of the ingredients cool, they more or less firm up. And even though I took mine out exactly at 50 minutes and it was still wiggly, but after 10-15 minutes it was perfectly fine. You just test the top.
Okay, so you don't want it to look like totally done.
No, not at all, not at all. Okay. And mine, I made mine here. I'll show you mine. You see, mine did, see here, it did come out, this is the oozing out of the filling, but I think it makes it look kind of rustic, and I'm not a professional baker, you're not a professional baker, so I think it's kind of interesting that it doesn't look like you bought it, at the store. So it's more of a personal.
I agree totally. I like rustic.
Yeah. Plus, it's a perfect excuse.
Exactly. And through the wonders of time travel, we actually have mine all ready to go. Let's see how it looks over here.
Let's see.
Oh.
Oh, yours did exactly the same. See? Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah?
So are you going to cut it and taste it?
I think we should.
It's so rich. Sometimes people serve a tart with vanilla ice cream or whipped cream or creme fraiche or something like that. I think a little sprinkling of confectioner's sugar is perfect. And if you have, Kelly, this is a little tip for you. Oh, you have a sieve. Perfect. Just going to say, yep, sieve it over the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Good to go.
Very nice.
I've seen people who know what they're doing do this. Is this right?
Yes. Do you want to see something
Okay.
even easier?
Yeah.
Okay, look. Have you ever seen one of these?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
Oh, actually, yeah. I think my father-in-law has one. That's what
Okay,
he uses.
so watch. Same thing, but it's kind of portable. You can take it with you if you're bringing a pie somewhere, or sprinkle it over almost any kind of dessert. Looks great.
Need to get one of those too.
I'll
So now
send you
everyone
one.
knows what to get me for Christmas. All right, are we ready to cut it?
Yes, please, you cut yours. I don't
Okay.
have anyone to eat.
Mmm. I see lots of yummy, oozy things on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Check that
Mmm,
out.
nice. Oh, that looks excellent.
Good.
So who's going to be your victim?
Are you kidding? I'm eating this myself.
You're not sharing?
No way. Maybe I'll share with the cameraman when we're done, but he's busy.
Oh, the cameraman did an excellent job.
Mm. Yes, it's very good.
Did you do a good job?
Yes, I think you're right about those smaller chocolate pieces because I can sense that they're still kind of big in there, but it's really not bothering me too much. It's pretty good.
No, I wouldn't imagine the chocolate would bother you too much.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
though, just your piece is just a little bit, maybe half of that size. You don't want them. You wouldn't want to like shave the chocolate or anything. I think that gives it a nice little uh, crunch
Mm.
with a little
Yeah, I think
cup of tea, coffee, a little glass of whiskey.
you're right.
That would be perfect.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Margaret? We're just about to wrap up.
No, I just want to thank you and the Wild Geese for providing me this opportunity to do a recipe. I think it worked out very nicely. For me to do it, I didn't have a cameraman handy, so I think this was a very clever idea. And
So,
I
yeah, well,
thank the Wild
thank
Geese again.
you so much for providing the recipe and all the know-how. We've really enjoyed this.
Well,
Thanks,
great.
Margaret.
Thank you
Well,
so
we've
much.
come to our end of our time here at the Wild Geese Virtual Shebeen for tonight. Again, we want to thank Margaret for her time, her expertise, and her patience with me.
Oh, it is
And,
easy.
and thanks to you for tuning in and joining us. If you want to make a chocolate whiskey tart for Christmas or anytime, and trust me, you do, you'll find the recipe here on thewildgeese.com. Don't forget also to get your copy of Margaret's book, Christmas Flavors of Ireland. You can find that on irishcook.com or from Amazon. And please join us again in the Wild Geese Virtual Shebeen on Tuesday, December 16th. That's our next one. It'll be at 5 Eastern, just like this time, for an evening of Irish Christmas music and stories. So it's going to be a really nice special time. For Emil Margaret, and thanks so much, everyone, and Malakana, a very Merry Christmas. Come on.
Thank you.